The studies that have come out, you've talked about them, I've talked about them, looking specifically at the phenomenon known as CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's sort of a Alzheimer's-like disease, they call it, that comes about from repeated blows to the head. 76 of 79 professional football players' brains that have been studied have found evidence of the CTE. What do you make of that, 76 of 79 of these brains?
We know that in these brains that have been studied, they have been studied in sports players who have had frequent contact, but we know that there's a selection bias, that these investigators have selected the brains that they wanted to study. So I would say these studies are early, they're interesting, they're provocative, and they raise hypotheses. And those hypotheses need to be further tested and evaluated through rigorous medical science.
One of the things that comes up with regard to football is that when you look at the dynamics of an injury, you have a brain within a skull within a helmet.
Yeah.
The brain is a fluid medium within a fluid medium.
Yeah.
So players running down the field suddenly stops.
Yeah.
The brain's going to move back
That's
and forth.
right.
No matter how good the helmet is, no matter how good the protective gear is, you can't stop that acceleration-deceleration injury.
Yeah.
As a doctor, they're saying to you, please help us make this game safer.
Yeah.
How do you make it safer with knowing that?
So the NFL has put in place a very strong infrastructure of medical advisory committees. So there's a head, neck, and spine committee that is composed by leading neurosurgeons, neurologists, neuropsychologists from around the country. And those individuals spend an enormous amount of time evaluating the literature, making recommendations about research, and actually making policy recommendations about the game. And I've seen the commissioner incredibly receptive to those policy recommendations. You know, over the past 3 or 4 years, there have been over 30 rule changes. So, for example, head-to-head tackling is no longer allowed. As a result of a decrease in head-to-head tackling, during the season, the concussion rate now is down about 36%, 2014 compared to 3 years prior.